guys, it's Mickey, and I know I look an absolute crazy mess right now. I'm doing self-care day, so I've got my hair deep conditioning. I rinse it out in the morning. I just took a nice long bath, but I started Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Remember how I was supposed to read that in my 24-hour readathon and didn't? Well, I'm trying to remedy that. I started it yesterday and I was like, whoa. We are living in history right now. There is a worldwide pandemic going on. This is about a worldwide pandemic. Why don't I just blog me reading about a pandemic in the midst of a literal pandemic? So that's what I'm going to do. And I didn't get very far in this. I think I'm on chapter 5, which is page 28. So I'm not far at all. And the book itself is 333 pages, it looks like. So I'm not very far into it at all. And so far what I've gathered is right now there is a pandemic going worldwide. It's called the Georgia flu, and basically it has a little to no recovery rate. Almost everybody that's getting it is dying, and that's all we know right now. And this is definitely worse than the coronavirus. So at least I can say that about this novel, but I'm going to continue reading. It is currently 11:49, and see how far I can get before I go to bed. Alright guys, I ended up taking my dog on a late night walk to go potty one more time before we go night-night because he is a senior dog. But I am now 60 pages into Station 11. Right now, we're getting actually a different viewpoint. So the first little section of the book, from the viewpoint of this guy named Jivan, we are at a production of King Lear. And the guy who's playing King Lear actually has like a massive heart attack on stage and dies. Vaughn, who is trying to get a certification to be an EMT, starts doing CPR on King Lear and trying to save him. But when we know that the Georgia flu is hitting and it's the beginning of the pandemic. Now we're from the point of view of Kirsten 20 years later, who was actually a little girl actress in the production of that same King Lear, and it's from her point of view 20 years later and how the world has changed so drastically. Like, people are living in Walmarts and Wendy's and McDonald's, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And it's not as gruesome, but right now, like, the post-apocalyptic vibe that I'm getting kind of reminds me of The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Like I said, not as gruesome. The way people are living, and she's living in this, like, with this caravan of people called the Symphony, and it's basically these people who go around the country and perform Shakespeare plays for people, and really awesome to read about. It's entertaining. I've never read a book like this before, so I'm excited to get a little farther into it before I go to bed tonight. I'm not really tired. I've got a plate of avocado that I'm eating for a snack. I was really craving it. And I've got a cup of apple mango juice. I've got Luna here making biscuits on my blanket. And I've got Winnie here thinking about eating my avocado, but being a good boy and not doing it. So I will update you guys when I get farther into Station 11 and how I'm feeling about it. My boyfriend was upset that I didn't mention our other cat, Cass, in that last clip, so he's being a creeper in the hallway, but we're paying attention to him, so here he comes. Come here, chicken. Isn't he perfect? Not happy. And just for the information, all of our animals were adopted from either horrible situations or people who just did not want them anymore. So adopt, not shop. You guys, behold, I have talked my boyfriend into doing my toenails. I got my fingernails done yesterday for the first time since before Corona happened, and I was like, please paint my toes, Sammy. And he's the best boyfriend ever, so he's doing it whilst I continue making progress in Station 11. Hey guys, it's 5 p.m. the next day, and guess who still has deep conditioner in her hair? This girl. Today, I've just been cleaning my apartment. I'm a very clean person, so my floors in the apartment, like once a week. I never let the apartment get crazy nasty, but floors and things like that needed to be done today, so that's what I've been doing. I stayed up till 2 a.m. this morning reading, actually, so I'm excited that I was able to do that. I have not stayed up that long in a while. Today, I actually have an assignment I need to do. I start back at college in about a week. I don't even know what the date is right now. This assignment I have to turn into my professor will take me like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna get showered. I'm gonna take my dog out to potty, and then I'm gonna get back reading, and I'm gonna read as much as I can today. I will update you guys in a bit when I've made some more progress in my book. Hey guys, how you doing? Just got out of the shower. It's about 8 p.m. I just went to Starbucks, got a drink and a pastry, so I'm gonna eat that and drink that while I read Station 11. The dilemma that I'm having right now is when I was just walking my dog outside, you can see it's beautiful right now. The sun is setting, animals are outside and they're enjoying it. So I really want to sit outside and read on my balcony. But the problem with that is, but we have a wasp infestation. I mean, they're everywhere. And I got stung pretty bad yesterday. So I'm trying not to deprive my animals of their outside time because they obviously don't mess with the wasp. But I assume there was a nest on the door and I opened the screen door and I irritated the wasp, and that's why I got stung. I don't really want to take no chances, even though I really want to read outside. So I think I'm just gonna park here where Winchester is and read Station 11. Sammy works late tonight. He works for at least another 2.5 hours. So I'm a pretty slow reader, so I don't necessarily know that I can finish the whole book, but I do know that I can get a good chunk of the way through even while updating you guys. For my drink that I will be drinking, I have a Trenta strawberry refresher with light ice and lemonade. So good, especially on hot summer days like today. I have a piece of banana nut bread, and I'm going to eat this, drink this, and start reading, let you guys know how I'm feeling. Alright guys, so I'm hitting you with a little update. I'm about 90 pages into Station 11, and I need to explain this better because the way this book is broken up, it's broken up into distinct parts. And these parts, they're not very long. They're jumping into different parts and different points in time. So like, the first part was at this play, King Lear collapses, he dies, and then we find out that the Georgia flu is sweeping the nation and almost killing every single person that gets it. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is 20 years into the future after the Georgia flu has almost wiped everybody out, and there's only select groups of people left. The people that are left were reading from the point of view of Kirsten, who was a tiny girl in part 1 who acted in the King Lear play. And that's another thing, all these characters kind of connect. So we're reading from her point of view, and Kirsten is part of the symphony who go to, you know, these desolate towns and areas who have survivors, and they perform Shakespeare plays for people. So that's part 2. And then part 3, we're actually reading from the point of view of the actor who plays King Lear, who died in part 1. So I know that sounds confusing, but from my understanding, this is way before the Georgia flu, and we're just kind of reading about his life, and we're also reading from the perspective of, I believe it was his second wife, and like how they met. And then we also just figured out why the novel is called Station 11, where that comes from. And the woman that we're reading about right now, from her perspective, the actor that played King Lear, his second wife, she writes graphic novels that are called Station 11, and that's why this book is named this. Now, I don't really know how that correlates with the rest of the story yet, or how those comics come into play, but we finally found out. So I'm about a third of the way through Station 11. The writing is really captivating. Like, I felt like I just flew through those 30 pages like quick. So I'm gonna continue reading, and I'll hit you guys with an update in a little bit. Hey guys, it is 10 p.m. on Wednesday, I just got out of the bath and now I'm making dinner for my boyfriend because he gets off late tonight. In the bath, I finished part 4 or 5 of the novel. It was a long part. I stopped reading yesterday because my boyfriend got home late and I wanted to spend time with him before we had to go to bed. And today I was a bad vlogger and played video games. So that's kind of where we're at. But the part I just read was different because it combined a lot of the time periods that I was talking about in the other parts. Like, we had Kirsten's point of view after the Georgia flu, we had Arthur, King Lear from part 1, we had his point of view from before the Georgia flu, a look into his marriage and stuff like that. So it was really interesting, a lot of character development. I'm still not sure how Station 11 plays into the story yet, but I think we're getting there. A big plot line of the story is that Kirsten, who is in the future 20 years after the Georgia flu, has come to a town with the symphony to perform a Shakespeare play, and this town is now run by a prophet who dictates everything and wants to marry little girls and do what prophets do. So they're trying to locate some of their friends who were supposed to be in that town, but they disappeared and they left and they're not there anymore. And we're kind of trying to figure out like why this prophet guy is the way he is, where her friends are, and so on. So I'm gonna cook dinner, but while I'm waiting for the chicken to cook in the oven, I'm going to read some more because all my sides and stuff are gonna take like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna try to get a good portion of the way into the book while I'm cooking. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know how we got here. This was not supposed to be a week-long reading vlog, but here we are. I hope I don't look as much like death as I feel. It's Friday, and I am going to sit down right now and finish this book. I don't care. My animals are taken care of. I've done all the chores. I'm sitting my butt right here, right now, and finishing the last 130 pages of this book. That's it. I'm sorry I've been such a terrible vlogger. I hope you guys are still watching this right now. If you are, I applaud you because I have been absolutely horrible and I have a headache. My belly feels not great. So I figured if I'm gonna sit here and do nothing anyway, I might as well be productive and finish this book. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna do a montage of me finishing this book and we will see. No, we won't see. We won't see actually. I'm going to sit down and finish this book and I'll update you guys as I'm reading the book, my thoughts, and when I finish. Guys, I had to go take my dog out and I finally caved and took some Advil because my head is killing me. But it's currently 8:10 and I have been reading these past 2.5 hours. We're in game. I am 30 pages out from the end and I have some thoughts. Like the way Emily St. John Mandel has like crafted these characters to connect with one another and all these different storylines. Like we're getting background into every single character and like what made them do the decisions that they do, but we're also kind of piecing it together because this is not told in a chronological way. It's kind of like you're puzzling together the story for why these events took place. Characters have died. I mean, things have happened that like I wasn't expecting because it's not told in that chronological way. So you're led to believe certain things that aren't necessarily the truth for the point in time that we're in now. I like that aspect of it. I like that it's taken my brain power for me to kind of like read this book. Like it's not just a mindless read. The main premise of this part of the story, like the very end, you can see I just have this left, is there are these group of people that have taken up refuge in this airport. And basically this group of people has been in the airport since day 1 of the Georgia flu. Like they were on a flight. The pilot was told, hey, you need to land because of this pandemic. They landed and they haven't left. Now this airport is like a safe haven. So people go there, but there's also people that don't believe it exists. So right now, Symphony, who the people who perform Shakespeare, they're trying to get to that airport for safety and also to find their two friends that they've been looking for, because there's this prophet who is taking over everything, and they're kidnapping people, and he's saying that he's the only one that can populate the world. He's marrying children, like, to himself. Like, he's like the villain of this story right now. Like, this is like post-flu. Prophet right now is the main villain of this story. But there's also beautiful moments in this story where people, you know, especially people who weren't born yet, who weren't born during the pre-Georgia flu, so like they were born after the world is scavenged, you can find beautiful things about the post-apocalyptic world that they're in. I mean, there's just moments in the story when it's like, well, I'm so glad it's not like that anymore. I'm so glad things are different now. Or the adults will be talking to the children about the way things used to be, and the children will be like, oh, that's terrible. I will say at times, like, this book, in face of all the turmoil that's in it, there are those little sparkling moments of hope and optimism, not just surviving, because these people, it's really a community of people learning how to live and relying on each other. Fundamentally, who are we by ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of the story that's like, okay, people can help one another. Like, people do need one another. And I find that really beautiful. But I'm really curious to see, like, what's about to happen with this prophet, because we just found out who the prophet is. I'm not gonna say I was surprised, but I kind of wasn't. Like I said, man, just the way all these characters, like, intertwine is just, like, she did a great job with that. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I will let you guys know my thoughts at the end of the story. Y'all wanna know who the sweetest boy is? Say, this is the sweetest boy. This is sweet boy. So guys, I just finished Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I'm still processing it. It had a hopeful ending, which I really appreciated. It wasn't like the world has gone to crap, it's never gonna get better. Like, there was a glimmer of hope at the end, so I really appreciated that. I will say though, as much as this book seems like it would be plot driven, it's really not. Like, in my opinion, I find this book to be very, very, very character driven. I really do. Like, of course there's the flu and like how we got there and things like that, but we also get a lot of information about each one of these characters and like their thoughts and their feelings and their actions, and then how they progress from the past to the present. And so I really liked that. I will say it's not as action filled as you think a book like this would be. I will say it gave me hope about the age that we're living in now, because obviously this was a lot worse than coronavirus. I mean, this had a 99% death rate, like 1% of the population lived, and they found a way to make it work. I am not trying to take away from the mortality rate of COVID-19 at all. I'm not saying that those deaths aren't valid. Very, very serious thing. I'm just saying almost the whole population in this novel was wiped out. So I just wanted to clear that up. We're living in a pandemic right now. I'm aware of that, and I'm not trying to make light of the situation or the people who have lost their lives because of it at all, although it's fictional. I mean, it gives me hope that we're gonna make it out of this, and that the people that do have it, I hope we're going to be okay, and I think about those people and they are on my mind. So for anybody who's affected by this right now, this pandemic, I'm only trying to create entertaining content. I am thinking about you, wishing for a safe and well recovery for you and your family, your friends, etc. But critiques about this book, there's some things like I would get bored at times with, like, I know that sounds terrible, but there was information and like certain parts, because we had a lot of points of view, right? There were parts that I just didn't necessarily care to read, if that makes sense. There was like a lot of parts that were more interesting than other parts to me. So I think for that reason, it was beautifully done. The writing was beautifully done. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good, not one of my favorites. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a train wreck, a dumpster fire, but I really enjoyed getting back to reading, and I'll hit you guys with the next one. Bye.